The Watchers. The Velhari had been listening for 40,000 years. From their crystalline observation towers on the moon, they called Sorrow's Eye, they swept radio telescopes across the dark like blind fingers reading an endless page. They catalogued pulsars, mapped dying suns, charted the slow breath of galaxies. They were patient. They were thorough. They had found 17 civilizations this way. 14 were ruins. 2 were too primitive for contact. 1. A singing fungal network on a tidally locked ocean world had simply gone quiet after a century of beautiful, haunting transmissions. Then the Velhari found Earth. It was Commander Orith who first pulled the signal from the noise, a crude, looping broadcast on a frequency that practically screamed, "We exist, we exist, we exist." Mathematical primers. Periodic tables. A crude drawing of a human body beside a diagram of their solar system. Endearingly desperate. Orith had laughed. A sound like wind chimes, and named the species the Noisy Ones. For 300 years, the Noisy Ones filled the dark with their chatter. War broadcasts and love songs. Arguments about politics. Football scores. The particular, messy music of a young civilization still figuring itself out. Then, 20,000 years ago, silence. The ghost. Elder Orith was long dead. 17 generations of Velhari had grown old waiting for the Noisy Ones to speak again. The general consensus was extinction. A comet, perhaps. A plague. The slow heat of a mismanaged atmosphere. The Velhari had seen it before. Astronomer Polindra was not looking for ghosts when she found one. She was cataloging debris fields in the outer arm of the galaxy. Routine work, the kind assigned to junior researchers who hadn't yet earned telescope time on anything interesting. She was half asleep, honestly, when her instruments registered a drive signature unlike anything in the Velhari database. Not natural. Not any known civilization's propulsion. Something old. She magnified. Her 4 eyes widened. A ship. Vast. Asymmetrical. Built in the old Earth style her history files barely mention. Angular, functional, almost brutish compared to Velhari curves. Its hull was pocked with micrometeorite scars so dense it looked like it had sailed through a century of storms. Solar panels, long dead, dangled like broken wings. Yet something deep in its core still burned. A reactor, stubborn and ancient, refusing to give up. And it was moving. Slowly. Deliberately. Home. Polindra's hands were trembling when she opened a channel to the High Council. "I found one," she whispered. "I found a Noisy One." The Reckoning. The Ardent Meridian, that was the name stenciled across its flank in faded Latin letters, had launched 20,011 years ago. Its mission logs, when the Velhari finally cracked the ancient encryption, were heartbreaking in their simplicity. A crew of 12 in cryosleep. A destination. Kepler 452b, a world they had believed might support life. Their message to Earth, recorded before departure, was brief. "We go on your behalf. We carry your name into the dark. We will return with proof that we are not alone." The world they sought had been barren. Just rock and thin atmosphere, and the ghost of ancient water. The crew had documented everything with quiet, professional grief, then turned the ship around. 12 went to sleep. The ship flew itself home. Earth, of course, was gone. Not destroyed, not exactly. Polindra's team spent weeks analyzing the data. A catastrophic climate collapse, then a slow recovery over millennia. Humanity had survived, but descended, scattered across continents in small tribal pockets. Over 20,000 years, they had forgotten ships, forgotten stars, forgotten the 12 who had left in their name. The Ardent Meridian didn't know any of this. Its simple navigation eye just kept recalculating. Home is there. Proceed. The waking. Polindra made the decision herself, without waiting for council approval. She would answer the signal they never sent, the one they carried in their hull, their mission, their stubborn dying reactor. She broadcast on the old human frequency. Mathematical primer. Periodic table. And then, in reconstructed English pulled from 20,000-year-old archives. You are not alone. You were never alone. We heard you. Welcome back. Deep inside the Arden Meridian, proximity sensors registered a transmission. Ancient code executed. Cryopods began their warming cycle. In her pod, Captain Mara Osei opened her eyes for the first time in 20 millennia. Ice crystals melted from her lashes. She turned her head, saw light outside the viewport, not a star, but a vessel, enormous and luminous, holding formation beside her like a shepherd. A voice came through the speakers. Translated, imperfect, but unmistakable in its meaning. We have waited for you. Mara pressed her hand flat against the cold glass and whispered into the silence of the ship. Then we're home.